a fight that got announced this past week is going to happen at UFC Saudi Arabia in February, where Israel Adesanya is going to come back and fight in his first non-title fight, I think in like 6 years or something like that, when he takes on Nassourdine Imavov.
Uh-oh. I know where this is headed.
Oh, do you?
I think so.
Here we go. I'm going to hit you with this one, all right? The
Mm-hmm.
pressure is on Izzy to win definitively at UFC Saudi Arabia.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say something else.
You trying to guess my
Oh,
overreactions here. You think
I
you know me.
know, I know. I feel like I'm starting to get a gauge of where you're headed. Um,
Pressure's on Izzy.
the pressure's on Izzy.
He needs to win definitively against Nassourdine Imavov. He cannot have.
Why does he need to do that though? Are we talking about for legacy or title shots or to impress
We're talking
the
about for him
Saudi
still.
Arabian?
Yeah, he's got to show us that for him staying at the top of the division, if he wants to go for the title again, you can't lose to Nassourdine Imavov.
Correct.
I think more importantly, to really show and prove that you still have something, I think we need something definitive and impressive from him in this event, in this fight. He's lost 3 of his past 4 fights. He had the one knockout of Alex Pereira, but the fact that he could not build off of that one and has lost his last 2 fights back to back, I think it's concerning. And I think Izzy, if I'm not mistaken, he hasn't talked about retirement, I don't think openly, but the way he sort of the words, you can sort of read between the lines how he's starting to maybe just get comfortable with his legacy and where he's at. And if that's the case, then great. But if he wants another title shot and he wants to try and reclaim that title, I think he's got to show us something in this fight.
It's not an overreaction, and that bums me out because I came into the show going, I want to give him 6 overreactions. Folks, you got to understand, this is the boss over here, and it's not often that you can say, fool, you're tripping, which is kind of what we're doing here on Overreaction. But yeah, you're right. I mean, look, I think what he wants to do, no matter what, is wear gold. All right. And honestly, he didn't look bad against DDP until DDP put it on him, but he actually was fighting a pretty decent fight. So yeah, he's got to win, but he's got to hold off Hamzat Chimaev, who's one of the guys chasing DDP, and he's also got to fight off, if Strickland were to win and they're 1-1, the UFC's urge to give us a trilogy. So yeah, this is the way you do it. The same way Buckley kind of put it in our head, hey, if Shavkat's not ready to go, I am. That's what this guy needs to do, is impress. And so yeah, you can't just win a dull decision over Nassourdine Imavov. No disrespect to him, but you got to smash him because you're fighting for something else, and that's a title shot, and to back off the other chasers, the other ones that want to be in that same pole position that you're trying to get.
Yeah, he's got to push it. I think Izzy's got to push the pace and fight, not fight not to lose. He should fight to win. You know what I mean? He can't just go in there and give us some dull, 5 rounds, outpointing him. I mean, we've seen Izzy talk a big game and not come through before with decision after decision against Vittori, against Whitaker, against Cannonier. Then he got knocked out by Pereira in the first fight. And then when he came back with the Pereira knockout, it's almost like Izzy reached like his own personal top, like he conquered his demon, and he's come down since then. And I just feel like a third loss, heaven forbid he loses to Nassourdine Imavov. I mean, what are we talking about? What are we talking about if he loses 3 in a row and it's to this guy? No disrespect to Imavov, but this is a guy who's always fought big names, big fights. And I'm not saying this isn't a big fight, but it's a fight night. It's not a pay-per-view. And it's Nassourdine Imavov. This is not a guy that you can afford to lose to. Final word to you, George.
Yeah, and I would say this. There's 2 ways that he can go about this and really impress. One is just knock him out in the first round pretty quick. Hey, there's levels to this. Sit on top of the octagon, soak it all up, and I mean, you leave no doubt. But one thing I'd like to see from Izzy is, if this fight does go into deep waters, if you can finish him late in the 4th or even sometime in the 5th, prove to me that you got that cardio, because I think a lot of fights he's losing because he's declining in the championship rounds. And if he can prove to us that that's not the case, as he's aging, he still has the skills, the timing, the speed, all that, then man, he could really, really tick some boxes there in convincing me that he has something for like a DDP. DDP used to be a guy that was huffing and puffing after round 1. Oh, it's this breathing thing. It's a nasal thing. Okay, you got it fixed, but he's still huffing and puffing. But guess what? He's digging deep and winning fights, and he's getting stronger as the fight progresses. That's what I'd like to see out of Izzy against Nassourdine Imavov.
All right. Well, we'll see if he delivers, but we agree, or at least we know it's not an overreaction. He's got to give us something big in February.
MMA Junkie AI.